In this exclusive abomination of a horror comedy anime, a high school student, Miko awakens to the fact that she can now see ghosts and gruesome spirits, and what's crazy is that she pretends not to see them. Despite being scared and petrified, Miko does all she can to balance this reality with her normal life and lets the ghosts do whatever they want, literally. Can we please just jump to the scene with the pervy ghosts and the girl in the wet shirt? The first thing we see is a lady, panting heavily, running for her dear life, makes her way in full sprint and goes into what seems to be her apartment, closing the door at the speed of light. Uneasy, she looks through spy hole and sees nothing but a light twitching like in horror movies. She moves in and turns on the light switch and gets no response. She moves further in to turn on the lamp on the table, and as she wonders what in the name of Lucifer was going on, the microwave comes on, shining a light so bright. For a moment there I began to wonder, when did microwaves begin to illuminate rooms like TVs? I thought it was finally over as the microwave beeps and goes off. The fridge opens, with light shining like the sun. A hand comes out of the fridge. A zombie? A ghoul? I don't know. The scene ends with a scream. My friends, it was just a TV show. In real life this time, a girl by the name Miko Yotsuya walks into the sitting room while pressing her phone and sits on the chair. Her little brother comes in and tells her the drain in the bathroom's clogged. Miko says it's probably his hair. She points out the fact that the horror show is on. He said he's been wanting to watch the show. The fridge just trips open while they talk. Miko's alarm tone wakes her up. She opens her window and sees a guy struggling with his dog that is seriously barking at a dirty bin. She comes downstairs prepared for school. Her family warns her about the rain forecasted. She arrives at school, and a fine young specimen with magnificently abundant melons hugs her from behind. Emphasis on those jugs was made again, so it's only right I emphasize on them again. This magnificent specimen goes by the name Hana Yurikawa. Hana jumps back seeking for at least a little reaction from Miko. In the middle of their conversation about their little bag dolls, an arrogant midget called Yuria Niguredu tells them to get out of her way, and like it's embedded in their body's response system. They move out of the way and watch her pass by like she's a queen. She's got a boss aura. She better be someone important. Hana asks Miko if she knew who just walked by. No idea. Miko is distracted by a golf ball on the field, but she's called back to the class as her teacher obviously realizes she's not here mentally. Miko reads to the whole class. Please, when does this get interesting? Because so far, the most interesting thing is Hana's melons. Miko calls Hana an endless pit, as she picks up another meal immediately after just finishing another. But we all know where all that food is going. Straight to those melons, and the energy to energetically carry those melons around.
Oh my god! Wow!
Miko uses the convenience and hears a loud bang from the surrounding and does nothing about it. On their way back, Hana tells Miko that they should go underwear shopping for reasons we already know. Immediately, they part ways. Miko realizes that her doll was missing and goes back to school to check for it. First mistake. She turns out the classroom light and found her doll. As she picks it up, a shadow runs by the door. She uses her sense and quickly gets out of there. She sighs and said she should have carried the umbrella that her mother said she should carry because it actually rained, and now she's drenched. She stops by the bus stop, awaiting the next bus. She gets a message asking if she was okay in the rain. She replied back with a text and a photo of herself. The same photo she just sent was sent back to her immediately. She pulls her phone closer, and it was sent again and again. The pictures were coming in so fast, it began to look like her face was glitching. She got scared and threw her phone away. She waited a while before she picked her phone. She saw a message that made her smile a little. When she lifted up her eyes, we see a spirit standing right in front of her. Scary, disfigured face with a dark aura around it.
Run.
Can she see it? Was what the spirit and I were wondering. She didn't give the littlest of reactions. She clenches onto the tip of her skirt and behaves like nothing was standing there in front of her. The spirit kept asking if she could see it, and eventually goes away since it didn't get a reply. Now she expresses her fear, wondering what that was. At home, she went into the toilet to brush. Another spirit popped up. There's always a weird phenomenon before these spirit pop up. For the first, it was her phone glitching, and now while brushing, she cleaned a handprint on the glass. She pretends not to see it. Immediately it's gone. She goes into her room and gets salt. She pours a whole lot of it and keeps at the door of her room. She lays on her bed and searches for prayer beads on her phone. She turns her head and sees that the salt is poured a little. She turns to the other direction and closed her eyes. She gets a nudge in her blanket, and for God's sake, it's another spirit. Its head was around her stomach. It kept calling her mama. She still doesn't react. She covers her blanket back and said in her mind that the salt did not work. She blinks, and it was already morning. She preps for school. She gets there, and on the hallway, Hana frightened her with the normal greeting. While they were talking, Miko notices a shadow pass by the window and asks Hana, "Isn't this the third floor?" And another spirit shows up again. I'm beginning to have weird thoughts about this spirits. Something about some angles in this anime is lewd. On the hallway, another spirit shows up asking if she could see it. Hana can't see the spirit. The spirit comes in between Hana and Miko. Miko keeps silent and doesn't react to its presence. It looks like she's staring right at Hana. Hana was worried and calling out to Miko. The spirit leaves and Hana says she hopes Miko is not trying to confess love to her. See what Miko is going through? Hear the nonsense Hana was thinking. At the changing room, Hana talks about a show watched where a severed head was kept in someone's locker. Hana asks Miko to open her locker. Miko, with her own fears, stretches her hand and opens the locker, and there it was. A locker without a severed head. Miko was relieved, but it was too soon. She looks up and sees the head of a spirit. She just turns around and tells Hana to dress up. Hana tried to reach her phone that was at the top of the locker where the head of the spirit was. She tells Miko to help her get her phone. Miko clutches her mind and stretches her hand towards the phone. She thought as long as she didn't react, the spirit won't know she could see them. But as soon as she touched the phone, the damn thing screamed. It took a lot out of her not to react to that. She's doing too well a job not reacting. If it was me, half a block away would have known about what's going on. I would have screeched like a banshee. Hana approached Miko in class, saying she'd like to, gotta clear my throat to say this. She said she's gotta put on her underwear because it's windy. I told you this anime was too lewd. I love it. Miko thinks about how Hana distracts her from what's going on. Hana asks Miko if she could follow her to the changing room. Miko quickly rejects to go, and Hana literally slaps her own butt cheeks. Please, what is this anime? Hana decides not to go and take her seat, which is next to Miko's. Hana talks about how hungry she is and a place they should stop by on their way home. She pulls out a book from table cabinet. Miko's eyes widen as she sees a spirit's hand pull out with the book. In a split second, the spirit wraps itself around Hana. Miko gets up and pushes the table away. She tells Hana to follow her to the infirmary in a bid to take her away from the spirit, but all that effort wastes because along the way, the spirit came around and wrapped itself still like a backbag on Hana's body. Miko keeps her distance from Hana. Miko is probably wondering why this spirit is clanged to Hana like that. Hana picks up a stethoscope, puts it in her ear, and places the other end on her chest. She says she can't really hear her heartbeat because her watery bosoms are in the way. And guess what? She literally raises her eyes and looks at the direction of Miko, who poses straighter curves than a ruler, and tells her she would like to test the stethoscope on her since she's, flat. Miko deceives Hana into stretching out her hands for sanitizer. Miko thinks the alcoholic sanitizer would have an effect on the spirit. She goes ahead to spray all over Hana's shirt. The spirit reacts in a very funny way, like when they're casting out demons in churches. Hana requests for an apology. She picks up the stethoscope and advances to use it on Miko. The spirit looks enraged. It looks at her as if it wants to possess her. While Hana enjoys Miko, the physician walks in and cuts them off. As she scolds them because they're missing classes, the spirit jumps to the physician's body, wraps around her, and specifically puts its hand on her melons. That spirit sure loves melons.
Nice.
Miko looks so down and won't respond to anything Hana was saying. I think her feeling was hurt because of between Hana, the physician, and her, she's the least endowed. This only gets better. Miko and Hana go to a donut store. Miko is convinced to get one. She joins a queue with her face down to her phone. Hana calls our attention because I, and everyone else that has and is watching this anime did not know that Miko joined a queue for the spirits. Hana asks her why she's standing all on her own. Miko realizes her position. Hana pulls her by the hand, placing the hand in between her boobs. Subarashi. Hana yells at Miko to put her phone away while walking. She might get injured or die. Miko tries to laugh it off but sees where the queue of the spirits was leading. They were queued to be eaten by another nastier and bigger looking spirit. She immediately thanks Hana. Miko finally sees a cute cat and she smiles, saying how nice it was for her to finally see something nice after all she's seen. But nothing for her, no peace for the wicked. Immediately she sighs in relief. Hana opens up the box the cat is in, and there it was. Yes, you guessed it right, another disgusting-looking spirit. Hana puts up a post online asking for someone to adopt the cat. While waiting, Hana plays with the cat and mistakenly bumps into a tall black guy. Hana is frightened, thinking he was going to kill her with the look on his face. A fine young man shows up and says he wants the cat, but one look at him and denies to allow Hana give the cat. He's like a legion of spirits. Well, I'm calling them spirits because they've not actually called it anything. Hana is stunned as Miko takes the cat and gives to the black guy. Well, I saw that coming. The black guy immediately smiles, and two other white and pure-looking cat spirits appear over him. Miko rushes from home, saying she's gotta rush unless she'll miss the bus. She boards the bus and takes her seat. She notices an anomaly. Every time she raises her head, a certain person changes position, and every time it draws nearer to her. She wonders if it's a spirit. Her thoughts conflict. I have a fear it's the guy that wanted the cat. I feel so sad that she had to sit there and hide her feelings. These spirits don't look appealing for nothing. You can't even manage the sight of the disgusting thing, and yes, I was wrong. It wasn't the guy who wanted the cat. They get to a bus stop, and the spirit literally comes down and goes to the window where she's sitting. Something I don't understand is, why do they always keep walking around her asking if she sees them? I guess they're lonely. But is that how something is hanging around me all the time and I can't tell? God, please. She arrives at her location. Another thing I love about anime is the names of their restaurants. You can't see Starbucks, but my dear, you will see Steebuck. She anxiously waits for Hana's arrival, and the guy who wanted the cat walked in and sat down. The spirit that follows him tells him she loves him, and he should not leave. I've got a lot of questions like, does he actually see the spirits too? He catches her staring at him and looks at her smiling. Bro, the spirit gets so pissed off and walks towards Miko. Miko is frightened and finds a way to deceive the spirit. It goes back to the love of its life. Hana arrives, and Miko gets them to leave. The guy calls her and says he saw her smiling at him. She doesn't answer him. She moves on to Hana. The girl that this playboy was actually shows up. She's got her own legion of spirits too. Talk of two peas in a pod. He lies to the girl that came to him that he wasn't just talking to Miko. He tells her he loves her, and his spirit reacts. Elmao because Miko calls the girl and the boy birds of the same feather. Miko finally purchased the prayer beads she's been looking for. Hana purchased a rabbit doll, and we are told that she's got like 1 billion offers them at home. Miko remembers how Hana is always attracting spirits. She decides to give Hana a pair of prayer beads. Hana is overjoyed and said she'll treat Miko to butt buns. It's supposed to be soft and delicious. It should be soft and delicious if you know what I mean. Hana says it's past a very dark alley. Hana, with no knowledge of what's going on around her, she just runs into the alley and it's actually full of those spirits. But the spirits give way because of the prayer bead. Seeing that it works, Miko advances forward like a soldier whose backup just arrived. She hits a pause as a bigger and more terrifying spirit shows up in between her and Hana. The spirit said the word itchy, and the bead broke into 1,000,000 pieces. Hana walks back towards Miko after hearing that the beads were broken. She said they should return to where they got the beads and ask for another. Miko is conflicted in her thoughts, and in the midst of everything, she just walks through the spirit. It was terrifying for her. Life doesn't just go easy for Miko. After the terrifying event of waking through the spirit, Hana saw her rabbit doll right underneath the spirit. Miko didn't let her go anywhere close to it, and with great sacrifice, Miko picked up the rabbit doll. They finally purchased the buns and sit at a corner to eat. At least something good happened. In the midst of a conversation, Hana gets up with her mouth full and said she knows a place. Remember the arrogant girl from episode 1, Yuria, who told Hana and Miko to get out of her way? Can't remember how she said it, but it was something like that. We see her squatting behind a signpost and peeping at someone's shop. Miko and Hana arrive at the shop asking for a powerful prayer bead. The old lady goes in and gets a random bead because she's just doing business for a scam. How much will kids have? Immediately, Miko puts on the bead. This old lady realizes something is up, but acts cool, like nothing serious just happened. Apparently, the spirit from the alley follows her about. The old lady decided to give Miko her most powerful bead. I mean, when they opened the box it was in, the beads were shining. Miko puts it on. The spirit reacts, and still yet the all-powerful glowing beads broke. The spirit eventually stopped following Miko at some point. Now she and Hana head home. Miko speaks lewd words and makes weird sounds in her sleep. She's awoken by her little brother's presence, who stands at the side of the bed and was just looking at her. She tells him not to wake her up in such a weird way. He teases her, asking if she had a dirty dream. He makes his way out of the room with the speed of light as Miko tries to throw a pillow at him. Miko can't remember her own dream. Miko and Hana go shopping for snacks, and it goes the usual way. Bursty Hana holds a lot of snacks while burstless Miko holds just one snack. Miko goes to pay. She's told the price, 110 yen. An echo follows it saying, 103 yen. It was a spirit standing and acting as a counter cashier. Miko's parents bid them goodnight as they leave Miko and her little brother in the sitting room, watching TV. After their favorite horror show takes a break for a commercial, Miko gets up saying she wants to get a drink. Her little brother asks for a coke. She gets to the vending machine and to put her coin into the slot was a very big issue for her. The coin fell and rolled under the machine. She bends down and sees a little spirit, and for some reason she thinks it's cute. She even fakes her coin falling again so she could follow the spirit, but gets her heart severely broken as she realizes that it ran to a bigger spirit. She instantly regrets going after it and thinking it was cute. She tries to pick up her coin, but she shakes in so much despair. In a bit to pick up the coin with her shaky hands, a crow flies into the scene and swipes the coin. Miko grabs this opportunity and runs away. On her way back from school, two people spy on Miko, her little brother and Yuria. Her little brother follows her because he has noticed something is off with his Nissan. Yuria is just being a creep. She was first spying on the shop where Hana and Miko got prayer beads, and now she's spying on Hana and Miko because they went to that shop. Miko goes to a bookstore. Her little brother follows behind. He hides by the shelf, wondering what his sister is hiding from him. Her little brother's name is Kiyosuke Yotsuya. Miko drops the book she was holding. Kiyosuke goes to where she was standing and sees a whole different book. He already has imaginations of her with a man. So, on getting to the bookshelf, what else could he see but a book titled 99 Ways to Please Your Lover? Miko gets home and draws herself a bath. She sits in the bath, thinking about her experience in the bookstore. The spirits in the bookstore are not as scary as the ones in school. In this moment of peace, you should know by now there's no time of peace for her. A spirit emerges from the depths of the water in the bath. Slowly, I can see her falling apart. She tries to get up and leave, and the spirit tells her to wait. She begins to tear up in frustration, but then her brother opens the door, saying they should bathe together, but he gets embarrassed seeing her naked. FYI, he's naked too. He turns and says he'll bathe another time, but she calls him back saying she'll wash his back. He's a very smart and caring brother who just wants to know what's up with his sister. While she was scrubbing his back, he uses this opportunity to ask if she has a boyfriend. He asks a few other questions though, but she replies like nothing is up. Miko wakes up and makes a wish that she won't see those disgusting things again. She walks down to the dining table, and there it was. Well, let me tell you what it was. Remember when she went to get a drink and lost her coin to a crow? That bigger spirit that the smaller one ran to was there with her family in the living room. She froze like Sub-Zero was about to do a fatality on her. The spirit approaches her and said she's going to be late for school. Her family are really concerned about her and keep throwing in questions. The word boyfriend piqued the interest of the spirit. Miko sat on the table where her food was, and that evil spirit, that evil and demonic thing, licks her food. Jesus! Someone should exorcise this thing. How dare it? She can't eat that anymore, so she gets up and said she's leaving. Kiyosuke gets up and follows her too. Miko gets outside and stops. She turns around and goes to the fridge. She picks up the cashew nut pudding she got a while ago from the store and takes it to a room where her father's picture is. And wow! Her father has been dead all this while. So, we've been seeing a ghost? Ah, I had no idea. It didn't even reach my mind. I understand why she's crying. It must take a lot for her to withstand the trauma her mind is undergoing. They have a little daughter and father conversation. It seems Yuria has finally made up her mind to approach the old woman's shop. But to my greatest surprise, she asks the old woman to take her as an apprentice. The old woman denies, saying she's not in need of one at the moment. The old woman gives Yuria one of her fake prayer beads that's brimming with power, just so Yuria can leave her alone. Yuria walks away thinking the beads are some sort of acceptance for her to be an apprentice. Yuria sees a spirit, not like how clear Miko sees them. She sees one spirit just aimlessly walking and says she'll leave it since it's not causing any harm. That's interesting. She's given a brief intro. She can see those spirits too. Hers is from childhood. They don't scare her anymore. She's trying to learn to exorcise them. The old woman is supposed to teach her, or she's to learn from her. The name of the old woman's shop is called Grandmother, so let's call it that. Yuria returns the next day, and her heart is broken as she finds out that Grandmother has been closed down. A neighboring seller informs her that Grandmother moved to the countryside because apparently she had met the limit of her power. Yuria is awed, saying that Grandmother is the best spiritualist she knows. The seller tells her that the lady customers she had were 2 girls, and coincidentally Hana and Miko pass by. They also notice that the shop was closed. Yuria recognizes them as girls from the other class who are always together. She's like a friend like that too. She overhears Hana call her mentor's work flimsy. She was shocked to the depth of her flat chest. In light of that, she just collected the award of straighter curves than a ruler from Miko. She watches them as they move away together. She notices a spirit right in front of Hana's walk path. She's stunned by the fact that Miko uses the famous cockroach prank to avoid Hana walking through the spirit. Does she have the gift too? I bet that's what she's wondering to herself. After gym, Yuria makes Miko clean the gym with her in order to get some alone time. Once they were alone in a dark space, Yuria introduces herself and apologizes for the stress. Yuria pulls up with some cult-sounding lines, saying she's been watching her. "You're one of us!" And immediately, the balls behind her shook. She turns back and sees the small spirits. Yuria explains how she's been watching Miko. She compliments her ability to ignore them. She informs us that those small spirits are usually in dark and damp places. They also like shiny things. So, she threw in a few shiny bottle covers a while ago. Yuria said she can't be fooled that she sees them too. Miko denies seeing anything. Yuria points in a direction and Miko runs, calling them roachis. Yuria is marveled by the fact that Miko denies and points to the direction of the small ones again. Miko, in her thoughts, agrees to the fact that she sees it, but then there's a bigger one in the room that Yuria does not see. The bigger spirit pulls closer to them, asking if they can see it. Miko is busy trying her best, so the spirit doesn't acknowledge that they can see it. She uses a wrestling style to lock Yuria and cause her to fall unconscious. Yuria woke up at the infirmary. Miko tells her that she was sorry for what she did. She didn't have to do that. Miko was conflicted at first between telling her and keeping up the lie of not knowing anything, but she concluded that since Yuria can't see them, let's keep her in ignorance, for it is bliss. Yuria misinterprets everything that Miko said as a threat. Miko steps out of the infirmary, and Hana popped out of nowhere, asking if it was true that she choked a Class 2 student to death. Shopping with Hana takes forever. Miko was on her way home late night. She got a text from Hana asking for them to exchange pictures of them in underwear. S3P knew. If you don't get what that word was, write it out and turn it upside down. Miko gets to a flight of stairs and sees a spirit. She holds the tip of her skirt and was walking by it. It stretched out its hand and held her. That's when she turned around and realized it was not a spirit but an elderly woman. Miko carries her to her home. Immediately they arrive at the old woman's home. The old woman's daughter showed up to claim Grandma. A spirit shows up. Miko was scared at first, but she later shows the number that the spirit was saying to the old lady to help. The old lady that was acting her age suddenly got back herself, went to the safe, got a hairpin, and prepared for dinner. Miko left there fulfilled. Even the spirit thanks her and takes his leave too. We know how Hana is around food. They both order cakes at a cake store. Hana gets the store special, while Miko, as usual, gets the one that's always at the far end. They both take their leave, and on the way, Miko stops and says they should go to Mr. D. Hana is excited to visit the donut store, but Miko was just trying to avoid a very nasty, irritating, and big spirit that looks like the Ripper standing along their path. Miko wakes up from a nightmare about the same spirit she saw the day before on her way back with Hana. Over at Hana's place, she wakes up late because her alarm stopped working overnight. She goes to eat breakfast, and from the setting of her sitting room, I can tell she's from a rich family. Finally, that answers like 5 of my questions about her, because how can she be picking so much food and always eating, always filled with energy? She's rich. Hana eats a mountain of pancakes for breakfast. I promise you that you and I put together cannot eat all the pancakes that Hana just devoured right in front of my eyes. She takes her leave, and when she walks past her dog, it barks vigorously at her, not minding what she was saying. The dog was just barking relentlessly. It was the spirit from yesterday that it was reacting to. I guess it followed Hana home. The spirit tails Hana Hana is filled with positive spiritual aura that makes her shine like the sun. The spirit uses this aura to prepare roasted meat for itself. It picks up those little spirits and brings them close to Hana's body. They roast like they've been out in fire. He takes them and eats them. This feasting service reduces Hana's spiritual aura, and guess what? It makes her hungry. She literally pulls out another pancake from her bag and eats. Her spiritual aura immediately blows back up. Hana walks a little forward and sees a boy crying along the way. She approaches him and asks what's up with him. He explains that his dog just suddenly went berserk and ran into a restricted area. Hearing him cry so much combined with her love for dogs, Hana decided to play hero and go into the building. She trembles all the way through the rescue mission. Still, she was successful. One way or another, either because of her aura or the higher demonic spirit with her, the legion of spirits that showed up didn't do anything to her. "Miko!" Hana called out. Miko turned her head and gets an instant shock like high voltage just ran through her. The sight of that higher demon spirit is not settling at all. Hana fills Miko in on the adventure she just had. Miko takes her dear pal to a shrine with hopes of exorcising the thing. They head to the prayer area and throw in offerings before they pray. Hana prayed, so eat lots of delicious fed. Miko prays to get rid of that thing and help her while they're at it. She finished praying and turns around to look at the spirit and sees two new white little spirits. Everything that Haha was saying didn't really concern Miko. Miko was more worried about that higher demonic spirit. The two little white ones that came, are they going to help it? No, the smaller white spirits raise their hands and chant something. Immediately they clap their hands, it cuts off the hands of the higher demonic spirit. Let's call it HDS. The little white ones chant more spells, but unfortunately, we lose one of the small ones to HDS. HDS eats the body of the white little spirit to replenish itself. Hana loves the sunset and wants to take a selfie with it. She pulls in Miko for the picture but couldn't get the right lighting. Miko turns back, only to see a bigger and scarier than HDS white spirit that crushes HDS in its hands so easily. It even eats HDS. Hana finally gets good lighting and takes the picture. Miko is busy losing her mind and running crazy. Hana leaves the scene. The two small spirits that were killed by HDS emerge from the floor. They speak in a language that Miko can't understand. The bigger one puts its hand over Miko and says thrice, and they all disappear. Without Miko, though. Miko just stands there, traumatized. We start off this time by seeing Yuria. She takes her bath and sees a small spirit in her tub. She glared at it for a while, then takes her leave. She thinks back on how Miko humiliated her a while ago and promises to do something about it. I know they said ignorance is bliss, but still, Miko should let her know. Hana comes to Miko talking about how many likes she got from the picture they took at the shrine. She believes to have unlocked a new ability to take wonderful pictures, and so she got herself an instant camera and takes a picture of Miko. Yuria walks in and takes the picture out of Miko's hand. The first thing Hana said was, "The girl you strangled, if I was there, I would have burst into laughter like crazy." Yuria tells Hana that she knows a lot of spots where she can take wonderful pictures. If she's free by the weekend, she'll take her there. Hana was so happy, she proceeded to warm my heart and put it in yearning. She gives to Yuria every man's dream. I don't know if you've been dreaming about, but I know I have. She shoves Yuria's face into her huge and soft breast. Yuria, in her thoughts, saying she was going to determine the extent of Miko's power, didn't know that she was being suffocated by Hana's boobs. She faints, and God please, when will it be my turn to be lacking of oxygen in the bosom of a woman? It's weekend already. Yuria takes them through a tunnel passage. This tunnel passage is infamous amongst them that can see. Let's call them the seers. The seers know not to enter into this tunnel. Miko sees that this place reeks of evil, but just like in all the horror movies, I know. They all charge into the tunnel. Few steps in and Hana reacts to a drop of water. She requests a new route if there's any. Miko bends and takes something out of her shoes and throws it backward towards the entrance of the tunnel. She fakes a trip and dusts her hands by clapping them. Now what Yuria saw Miko doing a spell and putting up a barrier. In life, you can be doing one thing and someone will be seeing something else. I also want to know what Miko just pulled off. The owners of the land finally arise to welcome their visitors. Hana has got second thoughts and thinks they should bail. Miko quickly picks up on that and said they should move out of there fast. But Yuria sweet talks Hana into going for it again. They make Miko go inside and take a pose. She stands there like her usual self. She was quickly surrounded by spirits. Hana takes a shot and shows them, and boy oh boy, are there many of those spirits in there. The seers are also shocked by the amount of spirits the camera picked up. Yes, I know you're wondering, can the seers see spirits in a picture? They can, my dear. Miko in her thoughts said they gotta leave before something bad shows up, and something bad immediately shows up. Let's call this HDS2, the spirit looks funny. A woman killed in a huge iron container. Yuria cannot see HDS2. Hana runs further into the tunnel towards HDS2. Miko calls out to Hana to stop. At the same time, HDS2 drags one of the lower spirits and feeds on it. In Yuria's premature seeing eyes, it was Miko using her powers to destroy the spirit because she can't see the HDS2. Yuria's mind is blown, thinking that Miko was the one that exorcised the spirit. She turns around to exorcise a little spirit next to her. Miko decides to use her cockroach prank to make Hana leave her current position. She stretches out her hand again and said, "Look, Hana spider." And simultaneously, HDS2 wipes out every other spirit there, leaving just the little spirit in front of Uriah, who's still trying to exorcise it. Uriah thinks it's Miko who just did all that. HDS2 uses a chain to kill the little spirit in front of Uriah. Uriah, with her outstretched arm, thinks she was the one that just did that. She turns around to boast about what she thinks she just did, and HDS2 jumps to her back, also curious if they can see it. Miko pulls her into her dry chest. I'm sure that must hurt her face. Back to what we were saying. HDS2 makes a move closer to them, and all of a sudden the two little white spirits that came to take down HDS at the shrine popped out of nowhere and use a spell on HDS2. They don't kill it though, but the thing runs for its dear life. They all take their things and leave with their lives intact. That breaks all the #1 rule of horror movies. On the bus, Yuria and Miko put on long faces. The two seers know what their eyes just saw. At least one knows the complete truth. Hana pulls them in for a picture, and the difference is their expression and their boobs. Sigh. She sends them the picture, and they all agree to head to Mr. D. Yuria realizes she finally made friends, and she used the picture as both her wallpaper and lock screensaver. Miko and Kyusuke go shopping for clothes as a gift for their mother. The retailer tells her to go and try it on, but Miko says it is a gift. Kyusuke tells her that she and mother are the same size, so she might as well try it on. She goes into the changing room to try it on, and they show us that a spirit was standing right next to her. It's becoming a regular thing now. Her little brother comes close to the cover sheets and asks if she's done. She tells him not to rush her. She puts on the dress and notices the spirit behind her. Her brother pesters on. The spirit comes closer and compliments her. Impatiently, her brother pulls open the sheets. He, the retailer, and the spirit all compliment Miko. She tells the retailer to wring her out wearing the dress because she doesn't want to go back in there because of the spirit. She and Kyusuke go into another shop. Kyusuke runs up and shows her a typical bro shirt with a chainsaw shark. They take the train, and Kyosuke sleeps on her shoulder. A spirit shows up. We're gonna call it the Axeman because it shows up with an axe. It moves to the first person in the row of seats and raises his axe. He strikes it through the head of the first person. Don't fret, there's no blood, it just went through. The Axeman said, "Not here." He moves to the next person and continues that way. Miko and her brother are in this row of seats. She tries to wake her little brother up so they can move out of there, because she doesn't really understand what's going on, neither do I. Kyusuke did not wake up. The Axeman gets to the person right before Miko and strives her with the axe. And this time it said, "Found it." It moves its axe further into the person and pulls out a spirit and literally bags the spirit. It picks up its axe and moves to the front of Miko. Miko, in the middle of her mental crisis, fortifies her mind not to react at all. And in the midst of all the commotion and fear, the Axeman strikes at her and nothing happened. The screen just went black for a while. Got scared there a little. They come down at the next stop. I can't tell what the occasion is, but their mom must feel really happy to have such wonderful kids. Hana rubs their pregnant school teacher's stomach, saying the baby is wriggling. They're gonna miss their teacher, isn't that wonderful? Mine back then would come to class with her 7 months pregnancy, and I wondered why she loved her job so much. They all turn to leave, and Miko sees an informed spirit floating around the pregnant woman. It'll leave and come back to her stomach. Miko worries about what she should do. Should she tell her? How should she tell her? The teacher takes her books from Miko and tells Hana not to go eating her lunch food by the first period because she's not around. The teacher turns around to leave, and Miko calls her but could not find a suitable way to let her know that something she can't see is moving around her baby. What if that's the baby spirit trying to enter into the baby? Instead, She tells her teacher to be careful around stairs and not to lift heavy stuff. The teacher wonders where all that advice is from. The teacher tells them that this is their second try. The first was a stillborn boy, and that's when Miko realizes, as she sees the little spirit form a baby hand and hold the teacher's hand, that it was the stillborn spirit hovering over her. Hana gets all emotional and hugs the teacher, saying she'd change diapers on like the 21st century girls would exclaim. Miko and Hana also pathways. Miko on her way home wonders why she sees these things, how she started to see them. Should she confront them like Yuria and grandmother does? She approaches a vending machine and sees a very disgusting looking into the vending machine. She wonders if she should. And to God and man, that thing is too ugly to acknowledge. She just goes to the vending machine and gets something for herself. Next day in school, Hana complains about a goddamn butterfly right on the button of the vending machine. If this girl knows what's up, she would be in Gotham Asylum. She would have gone crazy by now. Miko asks her why she didn't chase the moth away. Hana said she left the thing sleep and went to the convenience store. Miko said sometimes it's good to ignore the problem and thanks Hana for her wise words. Their substitute teacher strolls in, and terror fills Miko's eyes. He introduces, and everyone in class side talks about how chill and nice he looks. Hana recognizes him, and I'm sure you would have. It's the guy who wanted to adopt the cute cat from before but was denied. Miko absolutely does not want him to be their substitute teacher. He's got a legion of spirits. It will not be fun for us all. The substitute teacher enters, causing dread in Miko's eyes. He introduces himself. Classmates find him easygoing. Hana identifies him as the person who previously sought to adopt a cat but was rejected. Miko strongly opposes having him as their substitute teacher due to his connection with a legion of spirits, anticipating it won't be an enjoyable experience for her. Something unique about the spirits around him is that they're dogs or cats. His name is Tuno Zen. He picks up a book and says he's gonna take roll, but the girls in the class said he should forget that and tell them more about him, like if he had a babe or something. He goes on to take roll. Hana tries to remember who he is but couldn't, so she goes on to snack in class. A high spirit climbs up to the window of the class and looks at Zen. Lunchtime, Hana and Miko go to the school store and get snacks. Miko, as usual, buys something simple. Hana, on the other hand, buys the best and in quantity at that. They head back to class. Hana tells Miko that she can't seem to pinpoint where she might have seen the substitute teacher before. Miko tells her she might be mistaking him for someone. Hana says she's too hungry to think, and then remembers that she forgot to buy an after-lunch snack. She runs back to get something. Miko sights Zen from afar and looks at him walking. Then a spirit begins to make prints on the glass following Zen. We all don't see what's making the prints, even the seer. She makes a sound that draws Zen's attention to her side, but she already left by the time he looked. Miko runs into the bathroom scared. She hears some noise and thinks it's the spirit that followed her. She goes into one of the cabinets and puts her ear on the door to hear what's going on. Some girls stroll in, and after a few seconds they leave. She's relieved that she wasn't followed. She turns around and yeah, this time she reacts to the spirit coming out of the toilet sink. Crap, now that she reacted, it knows she sees it or does it not. It emerges completely from the toilet sink and stood before her. She fools it, saying there was no toilet paper and would check the next cabin. I was expecting her to run, but I'm just very foolish. It brings out its head and watches her go into the cabin, where she finds Yuria having her lunch break. Yuria's lunch break from today, and henceforth will be with Miko and Hana. Hana offers her some bread. Miko notices Zen walking down the hallway again and thinks to herself that she has got to protect her friends. As she looks at Zen walking by, a higher demonic spirit literally burst my own head as it teleports behind Miko and tells her not to look at Zen and teleports away. This frightened Miko so much that she began to cry. Her friends asked why, but she said it was something that flew into her eye. After school, they all head to a haunted house owned by Mr. D. Hana was really scared, but she also was very excited to try it out. They advance into the haunted house, and the first few inanimate things didn't scare them. Only Hana was feeling scared, until they encountered their first moving scare, which was a butcher. They ran and ran until they stopped. Different scares chased them about, running back and forth. At some point, Miko realizes that she can actually scream now because she's not the only one seeing the scary things. She screams, but she screams for joy. Yuria can see her smiling through her scream. They get to a point where they get a stamp and move back all the way. While stamping, a spirit shows up and Miko almost mistakes it for a scare. All the scares come together after they take the stamp to chase them to the entrance. The spirit joins the scares, the girls scream and run, but then Miko stops and screams, "Leave me alone," because she realized that she can actually scream that now at a spirit, though the rest won't understand. They made it outside and redeemed their box of donuts. Miko whispers to Yuria that they should go to a real haunted house later. A woman brings a bowl of soup to Zen, saying she made too many. She expresses her concerns about the many crows around lately. The instant she mentions this, Zen's eyes widen. She then mentions hearing something awful. Someone went after a cat in the park. Immediately, the crows react, flying around. Zen tells her he'll wash the container the meat is in and bring it back to her. He proceeds to lock the door, but she stops him, asking what hurt his hand because she saw a little blood on his hands. He tells her he broke a glass, but we know it wasn't a broken glass. He pours the stew into the sink. Where I'm from, there's a saying that goes, "Instead of food to waste, let the stomach explode." We don't waste food here. He goes out and trashes the bin. There's something about the crows, and they have most certainly grabbed my interest. At school, the whole class runs laps on the track. Hana complains about how hungry she's been lately. Miko makes fun of her because this girl can eat for Africa. But this time she's concerned because she's been extra hungry the past few days. The teacher yells out that there's one more lap to go, and they all begin to run. Miko makes the slight mistake of letting herself get happy. I also make this mistake too, but my parents always know the exact time to remind me I'm a failure. The instant she says she loves to run because it lifts her spirit, well, she said the word spirit, so here goes a running spirit to trash her mood. As she says it, it immediately says, "loser," and keeps running ahead. She stops running after a few strides, and Hana catches up. Then they run together. In class, they take turns reading as Zen, the teacher calls. The spirit that moves with Zen is very jealous, the same one that teleported behind Miko and told her not to look at Zen a while ago. Miko finds it hard to be in that class with the horde of spirits with Zen that looks like cats, and the jealous spirit that moves with him. It must be taking a lot for her to be so chill. After moving around, the jealous spirit goes and fixes itself inside of him. Of course, it irritates Miko to the core. She remembers the Axeman in the train and thinks she should ask for his help. She gets a grip of herself, holding her head and thinking about the pros and cons associated with calling on the Axeman. Zen walks to her unknowingly and tells her to read the next passage. Miko gets up to read, stammering and trembling in fear. Why is she scared, though? I don't think the spirits ever hurt her in any way. She stands there reading, trembling as the spirits look at her from the side, and Zen stands on the other side. Tears fill her eyes. She tries to hide it, but then Zen begins to pull in closer. He might have noticed the tears, but as he gets close enough, Hana's stomach rumbles, diverting attention to her. Talk about a hero in a time of need. Miko uses this opportunity to take Hana out of class, escaping the atmosphere and presence of Zen the teacher. As they walk to the infirmary, Yuria sees them heading there, and a while after she shows up at the infirmary asking the nurse that she wanted to see her friends. She is directed, and she heads there. Yuria tells them that she saw them walking down the hall. Hana tells her about her hunger pangs. Yuria pulls out a few sweets, and Hana grabs them at the speed of sound, unwraps them at the speed of light, and before you know it, down to Belltown. There's a bit of word exchange, and Miko figures out finally that Yuria can't see the bigger spirits. She also realizes that the spirits are the ones draining Hana of energy and making her super hungry all the time. You know that Yuria thinks Hana is in on the seer thing. Yuria mentions that being around Zen and his spirits would drain Hana's life aura. Miko immediately reacts, and that's when Yuria realizes that Hana is not in on the gig. Yuria tries to cover it up, saying it'll burn up her calories, and that's actually how Miko realizes that the spirits are draining Hana's life force. Yuria runs away, not literally though. She said she needed to go do something, but she's just leaving because she thinks Miko would harm her. Miko and Hana go to the park. Hana goes with a handful of snacks. Miko sits there wondering and thinking about a lot of things, like how everyone in the park has a spirit with them, but Hana does not have one. Maybe it's because she's always eating and has a high life aura that chases the spirits away. Why she can't see life aura, but sees spirits to the fullest. Hana shows her concerns for Miko, that she's been down all day. Miko puts up an act to make sure that Hana doesn't worry about her. Some kids pass by and they wave at Hana and Miko. Hana waves at a kid holding a balloon, and to my greatest surprise, It wasn't a kid. It was a spirit disguised as a human kid. Immediately, the balloon bursts, showing its true self and flying towards Miko. The two little white spirits from the shrine come and make waste of it, but one of the white spirits was lost. The remaining white spirit puts up 2 fingers in the air and disappears. Miko realizes that when the bigger spirit put his hands over her head at the shrine and said thrice, it meant that they'd rescue her thrice, and this is the second, making it 1 time left. Zen thinks back to when he was a kid. He got 98% on his grades and requested his mom let him go and play outside, but she disagreed. A kid yelled out to him saying they were going to be late for the birthday party. His mother hears and guilt traps the little fellow, telling him that he should go if it feels right for him, to betray his mother just like his father did. She was also planting her fingers into his head in a hard grip. He goes out but destroys the gift for his friend. A cat walks by, and he looks at it with those did eyes of his. That's when his students snap him out of his memory lane, and he tells the next person to read the next passage. Hana snacks in class. Miko just watches from beside her. Closing hours, and everyone heads home. Hana goes to her favorite donut store. She invites Miko, but Miko says she's got other plans. Miko trails the teacher, Zen. She can't look at him because of the jealous spirit that moves with him, and she can't react to it because if she does, it'll come after her, and the white spirits will save her. That'll be the last time she'll be rescued. She decides to do this on her own, because it's for her friend's well-being, because if nothing is done, one day it'll affect Hana drastically. He uses suspicious and questionable paths. He enters a dark alley, and Miko sees him with a cat. She tries to call the cops, but holds back to look again. This time, she saw him trying to pick up the cat, and this foolish girl screams at him to stop.
Women.
That's when it clicks in his head that she was that girl who didn't let him have the cat a while ago. The cat runs to Miko. Zen begins to ask questions. Miko runs away, and like in every classic chase scene in movies, I guess who knows what happens. Zen asks her as she grovels on the floor why she's doing all this to him. Don't forget that jealous spirit is there too. The cat runs into the street, and I can't believe what just happened. You won't believe it too. Zen jumps in to save the cat from a moving vehicle. I can't believe my eyes. Am I being deceived? They're about to make Zen a good guy. Well, my friends, it turns out he wasn't a bad guy after all. They take us back to when he was a kid. Remember the cat that passied him by? He took it in and took care of it. He loved his cat. He hid it from his mom because that woman be crazy. She one day found out and murdered it, saying he hid something from her again. Back to the present, he wakes up on a hospital bed and asks Miko about the cat. Miko tells him the cat is saved and is being taken care of by her family. Curiosity would build up naturally after seeing what she saw. She asks him what's going on. They have a little discussion, and he's justified by the fact that he only wants to save the cats. But most of the cats he sees are dead cats, and that explains why there are always spirits of dead cats around him. His friend Satoru comes in, saying he's the one who always keeps the cat for Zen. He has an animal hospital, so whenever he finds a cat that he couldn't keep, let me break it to you and let you know that the woman that came to give him stewed meat that time was killing animals in the area. That explains why the crows reacted. Now, to continue what I was saying, if he finds a cat he can't keep, Satoru takes them and keeps them for him. Satoru takes Miko to the roof and tells her how happy he is to see that a student visited Zen. It's a normal thing for Zen to be injured because of a cat, but he's very happy he's making small connections with his students. Satoru explains to Miko that Zen has a very strict mom who never let anyone come close to her. Zen, she kept on saying, "Don't look at him." Oh! Wow! So the jealous spirit moving around with Zen was his mother? What? Can't she let him rest even after she died? That's crazy beyond limits though. Satoru also tells her that one time he had a cat when he was little, but his mom killed it. He knew it was his mom even though he covered it with a lie, saying he was careless, and the cat died. At this point, I know that Miko has made up her mind to exterminate that jealous thing. She goes back into the ward and has a word with him, advising him to adopt a cat once he's fine, but the spirit of his mother won't let him. He said that the safest way for the cats is for Satoru to keep them. She tells him that he loves cats. He denies it though. The spirit kept on shouting that she should not look at him. She moves back a little and said to the spirit, "That hasn't it done enough? She should let him go." Immediately it screeched as it realized she was talking to it. She ran out of the ward room into the hallway. She stands knowing she's got backup, The moment the spirit makes a move to hit her, the white spirits come and extinguish the annoying thing. She said to herself, "Third time, huh?" The jealous spirit gets up with whatever lumps it has left and walks into Zen's ward. Zen says, "What are you doing over there? I thought you had left." For a split second there, the spirit thought Zen was talking to it, but nothing for the stupid thing. He was talking to Miko, who was right behind the spirit. The spirit was enraged again and wanted to come after Miko, but this time the white spirits make her disappear for good. Miko cries. Zen, in his ignorance, calls her weird. Hana screams as she walks into the ward. Yuria tells her to keep her voice low because it's a hospital. Hana yells at the teacher for not being careful and making Miko cry. He's nothing but grateful for their appearance and sorry for making them worry. The cat spirits around him begin to disappear. Maybe it's because the jealous spirit is gone. The kids go out of the hospital. Hana sees a cloud that she described as looking so yummy. Yuria apologizes for the other day at the infirmary. She realized that Miko was keeping the sight from Hana. Hana comes around and requests they all go to Butt Buns. She's been inspired by the clouds. A week later, Zen comes over to Miko's house to adopt the cat. Kyusuke yells in disagreement while his mother holds on to him. Miko hands the cat over to Zen, telling him to take care of it. Zen smiles and says he will. Hana and Miko discuss the fact that Zen adopted the cat over drinks at a restaurant. Miko tells Hana that he can't keep the cat with him because his apartment has a no pets rule. Miko tells Hana that he'll keep the cat with a friend. Hana was surprised he had friends because he behaves like he's missing a few knots in the head and had got a few loose screws. Zen, in his apartment, thinks back on the incident at the hospital when Miko screamed out the words, "Please set him free." His bell rings and he goes to check it out. It's that same old dastardly woman who brings him stewed meat. He gets an epiphany of Miko, meaning he should set himself free. Maybe she meant he should be more outspoken and say the honest truth. He tells the dastardly old lady that he doesn't like to eat food made by others. It turns his stomach. He's been trying to pass this information to her, but she doesn't get it. He said arigato and shut the door on her face. Walking out, she said to herself that she slipped it in so smooth. How'd he know? Nani! This episode is full of short scenes. Hana and Miko go to watch a movie. Hana said she didn't include Yuria because Yuria hasn't seen the first part, so she's taking Yuria to see the first part. Hana checks her phone and tells Miko that they should hurry. They'll soon run out of a specific flavor of popcorn. Yuria sits in front of her TV watching her own show. She wonders if Miko and Hana have already left to watch the sequel. Over at the country house, the grandmother received a letter with no return address. She opens up the letter, and it was the picture that Hana posted from the day that Hana and Miko visited the shrine. She exclaims that even if the faces were covered, she knows it is them. May I comment on how luxurious this woman is living? A man scares some cats in a dark alley, saying he only needs their eyes, that he's going to pluck them out. A hand touches his shoulder, and it was Zen's. Zen tasers him. The police put up a missing poster saying they hope he's found. They move on with their patrol peacefully. In class, Hana shows a picture of those stuffed bunnies that she loves so much, saying there is a new addition. Miko and I, with my keen eye, cannot spot the difference between the old and the new. Zen, the teacher, comes in briefly and lets them know that their original teacher has given birth today. Everyone is overjoyed. Along the hallway, while talking to Hana, Miko hears a bell that normally jingles when those white spirits save her. She realizes that she hasn't thanked them for saving her. She heads there, but getting there is not easy. She climbs the staircase like that of Jade Palace from Kung Fu Panda. She gets there and realizes that it's a creepy place, but she didn't come alone the first time. Maybe she didn't know that because of then. She approaches the altar, and two of the white spirits appear. A few seconds later, the bigger one shows up. Her first few offerings were rejected, and the bigger spirit turned into a different monster. It approached her, and I don't really know what happened, but she wakes up and says that it was a dream. That didn't feel like a dream to me, oh. She woke up to her little brother looking down on her. He told her that she was walking in her sleep again. She gets ready and goes to school. It's become easier for her to ignore the spirits. You remember from episode 1 when Hana hugged her from behind, pressing her breast into Miko. But this time, immediately after the hug, Yuria says hi. They all move along, discussing Hana's huge appetite. And that's a wrap for the entire anime, Mieruko Chan. Thanks for watching, fellow weebs. If you enjoyed this recap, dive into the next video or playlist, and don't forget to check out our cool merch in the description below. See you in the next recap.